All right, so let's start. We are a bit behind schedule. So as you can see, there's some Rift toys here, and we have Peter Haiba talking about strange days in the Rift. So let's give him a big hand.
Thank you, thank you. So, welcome. Let's get started. Let's start with a little aerobics exercise. Hands up, how many of you already own an Oculus Rift dev kit? Quite a few, actually. Interesting. So how many of you are planning to get the dev kit? Not the final version, but the dev kit of the Oculus Rift? 2 of them, okay. And how many of you are going to throw cash at the screen when the consumer version comes out? Lots of Rift fans here. And do all of you want to try out these Rifts here? Well, hands up. Quite a few people. Okay. So there might be a little bit of queue, but I'll try to keep this short and sweet. So let's get started. So why am I calling this whole thing Strange Days? Back in the 1995, there was a film called The Strange Days, and it was a science fiction film which had this bizarre little squid-looking device you could put on your head, and then it would record everything that you experience, all the senses, everything from your brain, and then someone else could take that squid and put it on their head and play it back. They would re-experience the whole thing, all the feelings, all the sensations, everything. And that was quite a fascinating film, but actually already before that I had seen another film called Brainstorm from the 80s, and it explored the very same idea. They had developed these helmets you could put on, and they would record your brain on tape, and then you could play it back on someone else's brain, and they would be able to experience what it's like to be that other person, play back the experiences. All right, and then some of you may even remember the Being John Malkovich. How many here have seen it? Yeah, it had this very interesting short segment where you went through this portal straight into John Malkovich's brain, and you could see his life in first person. You could see his hands, he was washing his teeth or whatever. And so I got interested in this idea, like how to record reality. That's totally sci-fi. You can't really record the brain yet. We don't have quite the neurosurgery hasn't developed quite that far yet. I've seen some interesting TED Talks about So what exactly inspired me to chase after this thing again with these contraptions I've been trying? With these contraptions, I mean those cameras I have on display on the table there. Well, a couple of years ago, I listened to this binaural recording called The Virtual Barber Shop. And it blew my mind, because then I realized what binaural recordings are really about. I've heard some binaural recordings before this, but this was a really good one, and it really brought the point clear that this is what you can do with sound. The directionality was just incredible. You can find it online. Just Google for a virtual barber shop, and you can find it and listen to it. And so, what exactly is binaural sound? The idea is as silly as it sounds. You just put microphones in your ears and record some sound. And what happens is that when the sound hits your head and your earlobes, it affects the sound before it reaches the microphone. And it ends up in the recording. And when you listen to this kind of recording afterwards with headphones, it really feels like you were there, because your brain is able to tell the direction of the sound based on what your head and your ears have done to the sound. And you don't have to put microphones in your ears. You can also do it with dummy heads. And the virtual barber shop was actually recorded with one of these dummy heads. They're really expensive. And actually, the shape of the earlobes matters a lot, surprisingly much. Anyway, it's a very broad subject. You can look it up on Wikipedia if you're interested. So let's move on. I started thinking that I would like to combine this binaural sound with picture. Like, if you record the sound from the ears, why not record the video from the eyes and combine it with the sound? Wouldn't that be, like, awesome? So how to do it? I figured, yes, you have to have cameras where the eyes are, but you can't gauge out your eyes and put cameras in there. That would hurt. So I tried to do something to get the cameras as close to the eyes as possible. So I happened to have one of these 3D webcams I wanted to try the idea as quickly as possible, and I happened to have the Minoru webcam, so I tried that. I strapped it to my forehead with a sweatband. I took my laptop and plugged a microphone in it as well. But the laptop just kept running out of juice. You can't record from 2 devices simultaneously, especially as the camera was also 2 devices. It was just totally out of sync. It didn't work very well. So next, I tried one of these HQRC2 systems. It's actually a portable system that you can plug 2 bullet cameras in it, and even a microphone, and it records everything in sync. So far, so good, but it wasn't really good resolution, and the onboard sound was really poor. There was lots of interference, noises, and whatnot. So it turned out to be quite futile to try to record everything in one device. You can't do that, at least not yet. There are some commercial 3D camcorders that do that, but am I in the way? Sorry. Okay. But you can't put that kind of a thing on your head, really. So I decided to use separate devices and just take care of the syncing and everything in post. You can use video editing programs to synchronize everything and edit everything into 3D. And it actually gives much better results that way. And head mounting is not really that easy nowadays you have 3D printers. It could be possible to print out some fancy plastic parts you can use to put your cameras on your head. But I don't have a 3D printer, so I bought a pair of these ear protectors, like that protect your hearing. I removed the ear cups, and I just found a way to attach the cameras to that, and I came up with these weird rigs. You can see it over there on the table as well. I used that in a roller coaster. It was a pretty popular video. But it's too far apart. It's on the temples, so the distance between the eyes should be as close to the distance between human eyes as possible. If it's too wide, your brain thinks that your head is like bigger, and it gives you a very disturbing experience, actually. If something comes up close, you have to screw your eyes like mad. So I would prefer to have the cameras above the eyes, but there are no commercial products that I could do that with yet, maybe later. Some other people have tried it as well. I stumbled upon this blog, and he built a helmet and uses the GoPro 3D system and lavalier mics near the ears. But the thing is that the thing is right in front of your eyes, and it doesn't have displays. The 3D housing doesn't apply to have displays, so he can't see where he's going. It kind of gets in the way. But you can move it upwards so he can see, but then it's further away from the eyes. Okay, and then there's this guy called Steve Mann who developed the iTap camera. This is a very good placement. It's right in front of the eye, but it's a bit narrow field of view. For virtual reality, we want to have as wide field of view as possible, and this is quite narrow, and it requires quite a lot of technical skills to get it built. But this led to the development of the Google Glass, so it's coming anyway. Right, but actually all this was already tried back in the 2001. There was this academic project called the MindFrog. And they tried streaming the video and the sound from these video goggles from one person to another in real time. So another person could experience one person's experiences like straight away. And back in 2001, the camera technology just wasn't good enough. They only had PAL resolution, so it wasn't very good, so it remained as an academic project. But I stumbled upon this only after I had tried these things out, so it was interesting to find out that it had already been tried. Actually, it was already done back in the 80s. There was this guy called Eric Howlett who basically invented the virtual reality. He established all the optics and everything you need for that. And in his exhibit, he had this, well, let's move on. Yes, these are the optics he developed. The displays were quite big back then, and you needed these very special, expensive lenses to compress the view to the eyes. And these systems cost like $500,000 a piece, so maybe that's why it didn't become very popular. Another thing he had was this handheld head, which had cameras and ears on it. Looks like just like that thing over there. And that was a great idea, actually. That was a part of his exhibits. One person would be wearing the helmet, and the other one would be swinging the head around, and the other guy wearing the helmet would be like, whoa, man. And so I thought, why not take one of those Neumann dummy head microphones, which cost 7,000 euros, and drill a couple of holes in it and just put the cameras in? But no, too expensive, too risky. I didn't want to try that. So some time passed, but then this happened. So, one person called Jeffrey Anderson started selling. And so why am I using action cameras anyway? Well, the reasons are here. They're very wide angle. That's what you need for VR. You want to cover the whole field of view. They're very small. They're very easy to place side by side, whatnot. They're made to be wearable, so you can actually wear them on your head. And commercial camcorders that are currently available, they lack all these features. So they record everything in sync, but they're too narrow. They're awkward. You can't put those things on your head and so forth. So that's how it ended up. Okay, what else has been happening lately? There's this enterprise called the Next 3D. They're planning to stream sports events and concerts, stuff like that, with 2 very expensive cameras and one of those free space microphones. And Rift users, they're also very wide angle, and Rift users will be able to look around at a scene. They like show only a small segment of it at a time. You can zoom in and look around, and you can listen to the binaural sound. And several people can use the same camera simultaneously. You can stream the whole 4K video, and everyone can be shown their own segment of it. So it's a very interesting solution, but an expensive one. I couldn't try this, but it's an idea ripe for picking. I'm not amazed that someone tried it out. And then there was this very interesting concert called Hello Again. There was Beck performing on a circular stage, and there were cameras rotating around him, and the cameras were fully panoramic. They had provided a full 360-degree panorama. And you could, on a web client, you could just look around with a mouse, and you could listen to binaural sound. Well, the thing with binaural sound is that it only gives you one direction. It gives you what's in front of you, the direction is that way. If you turn your head, the sound still remains in front of you, and it doesn't match with the scene. So what they did, they built this very bizarre-looking head, which had ears for eyes. So it provides 4 channels of binaural sound. And then when you turn your head, or when you rotated the view, it basically just mixed between them. And it worked pretty well. So what kind of future possibilities are for this kind of camera shenanigans? Well, this camera rig could be used for virtual tourism. You could take these cameras to a very exotic location, like a jungle or one of those Chinese mountain walks where you have these very narrow, risky falling, and you can experience them without the risk of falling or without the risk of being bitten by a bug. And journalists could use it to provide a very visceral first-hand view of crisis zones like refuge camps or war zones or whatnot, and it would really bring the message clear. And what I'd love to have myself is one of these consumer VR camcorders. Like, I've had to build this rig I have here. I had to build it out of lots of different products. I had to use 2 action cameras, one of those microphones, 1 sound recorder, a bunch of camera mounting gear. And I wish I could just buy one camera that does this all. And I would like to have both a handheld version and a wearable version. There are already some camera glasses already available, but they're not stereoscopic. They have a camera smack in the middle. It's not very good quality. The microphones really suck. They don't do binaural sound, so I currently can only use separate devices to do this. There's this very interesting project going on called the Panoptic camera. There's this guy developing a hemisphere camera which records a light field. Basically, it should give you the ability to look around in any direction and see everything in 3D, and if you combine it with a surround mic, you could translate that into binaural sound in real time, and you could hear and see everything in a very immersive manner, but it's currently just an academic project, but it's looking very interesting. It's based on light fields. If you have heard of the LightRow camera, it also uses light fields, but this is a spherical light field. It's the first one of its kind I've heard of. Very interesting. So, I guess that's it for now. I tried to keep it as short as possible. We can now start trying out these demos, and if you have any questions, we can ask them at the same time. So, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you have questions, raise your hand and wait for the mic. We need to get the question on stream. And now, because we have 4 seats here and there's different videos, okay, there's hard to form a line, but still, we have to circle people from place to place. So wait for your turn in that general area behind the computers.
I may have to help with the setup, so I'll be offline for a moment, but then we can go on with questions, if that's okay. Ah, okay.
If anyone have any questions, raise your hand at any point or like shout.
About those videos you're now showing through the, I think it's the VR player. So is that the version you are using for the Rift, so it reacts to your head movements?
Yes.
Do you have those available in the online so we can check the same thing at home later if we have the Rift dev kit?
Yes, the VR player is freely available. This new version has some bug fixes and new features, but the older versions work just fine.
Okay, and also have you put the files for the movies available?
Yes, I have uploaded them to the Internet Archive, and there's this Reddit thread where I have links to all of them, and the rest of them are available in my YouTube channel. And the VR player is actually able to stream directly from YouTube, so you can take any 3D video and view it with the Rift on the YouTube.
Okay,
So,
yeah, thank you very much.
It would be better if you stayed behind them.
yeah.
Hello. Have you tried streaming real-time video to Rift?
I would love to. Many of those action cameras actually have HDMI outputs. So it should be possible to stream the video and the sound in real time, and it would be awesome, but I don't have the equipment needed to mix two camera signals into a single 3D stream, like side-by-side picture and the sound all into one. I think there are some mixer desks that can do it, but they're really bulky. They're built for mixing desks. They're not very portable, and they're really expensive, so I haven't tried it out.
Well,
If someone has access to a 3D video mixing console, then I'd love to try it out, sure. There's a question back there.
Hey, do you know any projects to create narrative films in VR?
Well, that 3D POV Tumblr blog, the guy with the helmet and the GoPros in front, he described that he would like to try the idea for storytelling. And yes, it is a very powerful storytelling device. You could tell a story from the point of view of another person. It has been tried before. There's this drama series called The Peep Show, which did exactly that. It would switch from the point of view of different persons, but it was on a TV screen. But with a Rift, with 3D and binaural sound, it would be a lot more immersive, I'm sure. Yeah.
Pidetään 10 minuuttia vielä.
Huh.
Any more questions?
Some people have complained about motion sickness with these videos because the cameras have been panned by the person recording the video, and it doesn't quite let you look where you want to look, and it gives you motion that's against your will, basically. So if you start to feel sick, just stop viewing. And I feel sorry for you. Any more questions? Jos sulla on kysymyksiä, niin kysy kaikilta. You have a question? Please ask in English. The question was, why did I choose these Sony cameras in my rig instead of GoPro? Well, it's because of the shape. The GoPro is shaped like a box and the lens is on the side, and it's a bit hard to put them side by side. I know there is this GoPro 3D housing, but it puts the lenses too close to each other, so you don't get a very strong 3D effect. And those action cameras are very easy to put side by side on the microphone. So that's why, basically. If you have eyeglasses, I'm afraid you may have to take them off before viewing. I hope you can still see something. Okay. Mitä sitten? Okay. I hope you can see clearly. Hei, nyt voisi avata kuitenkin. Mä en tee työtä kameralla, mä oon äänisuunnittelija pelikaudella. Mä en esittäytynyt tässä, mun pitäisi pitänyt kertoa. Mä esittäydyn vaikka tässä nyt saman tien. I didn't introduce myself fully, I just realized. These cameras and things are just a hobby for me. I actually work for Avalanche Studios. It's a game development studio in Stockholm, Sweden, and I work there as a sound designer. So this 3D stuff is just a hobby. Joo, asun Ruotsissa nyt. Mä asun siellä 3 vuotta. Mä olin Suomen pelitalossa aikaisemmin töissä. Lähdin sieltä ja lähdin Ruotsiin. Mikäs? Mitähän tulkinperän tarkoitus?
Parttikypärä. Rambo. Petä kysyy, mikä sun suurin kypärä?
This one. It's a project of the Finnish hackerspaces. We're building a mesh network of linking apps. Right now it's not linking.
Why did you see logging, right? Sorry? So they communicate, pääsee suomeenkin puhut.
Joo.
Ne kommunikoi siis keskenään ja vilkkuu tahdiksi.
XP, sitten tuonne mikrokontrolleria tallennettu valmiiksi pino-animaatioita. Ja sitten XP-verkoille voi sanoa kaikille, että tekää animaatioita.
Te menette vaaditte riviä ja se vilkuttaa hienosti.
Demo-moodi, niin kauan kun se ei ole ottanut käskyä vastaan, että osaa yhdistää asioita.
Se tekee useita värejäkin.
Joo, RGB-ledit tuolta.
Varsinainen epilepsia.
Joo. Radioverkkoa on pystytelty tuolla areenan puolella.
Aika moinen.
Kolmisen minuuttia takana ja sitten alkaa soittaa niin 10 vaaleja aletaan vaihtaa.
Joo, niin siis mun ei kai tarvitse muuta kuin poistua lavalta ja antaa mikki seuraavalle ja läppäri tuossa pois.
Sitten se tietää vaan
Nyt on käytännössä valmis, että ei näitä ihmisiä ole enää kysyttävää, mutta ehkä ne 3 minuuttia pidä mikkiä siellä. No. Tää varmaan ottaa pois. Ne oli kaikki tässä. Eli voin ottaa koneen pois.
Okay, well, I guess we are out of time for this presentation, but don't worry, the next presentation will will use Rift, so let's give Peter a big hand.
Thank you.